A lot of people ask this, how good are Teslas at retaining its value? How about all electric cars? Is it different from gas cars? Are they keeping the values higher after 2 or 3 years? I'm going to answer that question because there's a couple of different twists. All of this is coming up next. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric. Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric cars news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on the subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. Still fighting through the loss of my voice over the weekend. I don't think I haven't gotten it back, even half of it. But we're going to do it anyway. So now this is not technically news, but there are a couple of studies that I just saw that were coming out saying how Teslas, especially Model S, retain value really high. They only drop after, they're claiming around 28 to 30% after 3 years. This is me with my current one. Obviously, very excited about it. I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep it past March, where my lease expires, but we will see. Now, there are a couple of studies claiming this. I don't think I agree with their methods of how they calculate it, because they basically are basing this on all kinds of like ads that are posted out there, people advertising their cars on sale. And as we know, just because you're selling a car for $50,000 doesn't mean you're going to sell it, actually make a transaction for $50,000. As a matter of fact, most likely you're not. So that's a little bit different. Now, also, how do we calculate the original price? Because, these cars have incentives. Some have $7,500 tax credit only. Some of them go all the way to $10,000 off, which you can get, for example, with California's $2,500 rebate. So do you look at the sticker price, or do you look at the price that people actually paid for it? Because if the latter, then yes, the price actually doesn't fall as much, because there are two measurements here and they're like $10,000 apart. But overall, Teslas do retain the value better. And here are the reasons why. Before I tell you, all 5 of them, let me just welcome my new sponsor, XRAC, to the family. Thank you so much for sponsoring my channel. By the way, this is a great solution for the Model X and other cars that basically, you either don't have the roof rack option, the cargo on the roof option, or you don't want to have it because of the clearance or other issues. So this is a way to have the cargo in your vehicle hitch. It's made out of light aluminum, so it doesn't really decrease your range, whether it's a gas car or electric. So that's good. And this is a perfect solution. Now, I think this is pretty reasonable, makes a great gift during this holiday season. But at the same time, they're also kind enough to give us all a discount, which you can find in the description of this video. From what I understand, this is the largest discount they've issued up to date, at least currently, and also free shipping on top of that. Check them out at xrac.us. All right, so let's talk about 5 reasons why Teslas, especially Tesla Model S. Now, I'm not including Model 3, by the way, right now, because there's just not enough history, right? You kind of want to start keeping track after 2 or 3 years at least, and we're not there yet with Model 3. Now, with Model S, and that's probably the best example, but Model X as well, number one is this. The base price of these cars keeps going up. As a matter of fact, from the time when I bought my very first one, the base price went up by almost $10,000. And it's just about to go up by another almost $4,000 as the tax incentives here in the United States is being cut by half. So and people usually compare the used prices, right? What can I get this used car for compared to what I can get this car brand new? And they're comparing the car that's used that was cheaper before that to the price that's much more expensive now, and therefore that keeps the used cars prices higher because they essentially went up in price. So that's number one, and I think that's one of the main reasons why Tesla, especially Model S, but also Model X, keep their value. The second one, it obviously goes for longevity, because the cars don't have as many moving parts, right? Don't have an engine, don't have a transmission. The motors can run forever, and it's a very simple powertrain if you think about it. If the batteries are made really, really well, right? So compared to, for example, Nissan Leaf that just plummets because of the battery that goes bad relatively quickly there, Tesla batteries have actually proven to be, almost at full even after 150,000 miles. Retaining about 90 to 95% a lot of times of their capacity. So that obviously the technology, especially in Tesla, allows to people trust that this car is going to last for a while. Now, I personally would never recommend a used Tesla that doesn't have some sort of warranty, just because there's a lot of other small things that break, and it still is very expensive to fix. But a lot of times it's not the powertrain, the battery. If something goes wrong with those, that's usually obvious while the car is still under warranty, and that gets taken care of. All right, number 3 is a wait. You still have to wait to get a Model S and a Model X. Sometimes it's only a month or two, but once like this incentives phase out thing was announced, I know some people had to wait for 4 or 5 months, and a lot of times people will rather get a used one than they have to wait, because they have to time it with whenever they're ready to sell their previous car, or maybe their lease expires. So that's actually very important. Now, another thing is over-the-air updates, right? This is something that keeps the car you're relatively new. This it's like your phone, right? So the software gets updated to the latest, but also you get a lot of features added. Now, they could also be misleading, because I can tell you that the autopilot features have actually diminished, especially with autopilot 1.0 that I have, with over-the-air updates, where it's kind of the requirements gotten really, really tightened up to a point where I don't even use it anymore. Also, user interface, right? I have to say, I like the user interface much better 3 years ago than recently, and definitely with the version 9, I feel like they've kind of made a step backwards. But overall, the notion that you will still continue getting updates, and your car kind of continues getting better with time as far as software is concerned, and sometimes even how fast it takes off, right? Because Tesla had those updates as well. That also is a factor. Now, the last one is very simple. Listen, it's a Tesla, and availability is still very limited. So there are a lot of people who want to buy used Teslas because maybe they can't afford the new ones, or exactly why they can't afford new ones, and that availability is still relatively small. Demand outshines the supply, and that's why those cars are being sold for a little bit more than maybe their gas counterparts. There are quite a few other reasons, but these are kind of top 5. Again, if you buy a used Tesla, you will have to pay quite a few more. With other electric cars, it's not as much of a case. As a matter of fact, a lot of other electric cars plummet much faster, because like Nissan Leaf, the battery goes down. They don't have the over-the-air updates. There's not much of a demand, and the prices actually stay in the same for them. So Tesla is very special in terms of their price being still very much high after 2 or 3 or 4 years, but not so much. It's not really true for the rest of the electric cars. It's going to be changing. It's definitely going to be changing, but let me know if this was useful for you guys. Let me know if I missed anything, and let me know if you recently bought a used Tesla Model S and Model X, and if you thought you paid just the right price, or maybe overpaid but still ended up doing it. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.